What happens when a nation turns down the volume on a crisis that's still stealing lives every single day? They say overdose deaths have dropped by a lot, and that's true. And I want to celebrate that. But behind the headlines, the echo of loss hasn't stopped. Even with the decline through late 2024, we still lost around 80,000 sons and daughters, mothers and fathers, friends and neighbors. And the most recent provisional data, roughly 76,500 lives gone in the 12 months ending April 2025. That's not a victory lap. That's an alarm still ringing. The decline is not an all clear. It's a window, a moment to act before the echo fades into silence again. This is Logan's voice, because every story deserves to be heard. I'm Doug, Logan's dad. Before we dive in, I want to ask you to take one small action that makes a big difference. Subscribe to Logan's Voice on YouTube and tap that notification bell so you never miss an update. Every share, every like, every comment helps amplify this message. It keeps families informed, keeps communities awake, and keeps this alarm sounding loud enough so no other parent gets that devastating phone call. Today, we're talking about the echo of unheard cries, what silence cost us, and how this downturn in deaths can still become a turning point for life. If you've ever stood in the dark pacing in your kitchen at 2 a.m. with your phone in your hand, and you know that echo I'm talking about, the one that fills every corner of the room while you whisper, "Please let them be okay." That was my reality. That's a sound that never fully leaves you. It's the sound I still hear when I look at Logan's picture. The sound of a father praying for one more day, one more chance to say, "I love you. I'm proud of you. Please stay." And for too many families, that echo ends with a phone call that shatters everything. I got that call. I can still hear it. That's why I'm getting louder. That's why I'm here. To keep other families from hearing the same words that stopped my world. Because even with the numbers trending down, the danger is still rising underground. Fentanyl remains the driving force. Xylazine and nitazenes are showing up in the mix. And one bad batch can erase hundreds of lives in just a weekend. A drop in deaths isn't a signal to rest. It's a call to wake up while we still have time to change the ending. So let me ask you, what happens when we stop listening to those cries for help? We give silence permission to grow. And when silence grows, people die in the dark. When we look away, it's not just numbers that suffer, it's people. Behind every statistic is a human being. It's nurses who can't unsee the faces, paramedics who carry trauma home in silence, parents who hesitate to call 911 because of shame, or laws that treat their loved one's last breath like a crime. The economic cost alone is staggering. Nearly $2.7 trillion in 2023. But what's the value of a single laugh we'll never hear again? A single hug that won't happen? A graduation seat left empty? You can't measure that in dollars. You measure it in broken hearts and quiet bedrooms. And this silence, it doesn't just happen, it's built. Stigma tells people to hide their pain. Funding delays pull the plug on programs just when they start saving lives. And the media moves on the moment the curve bends down. But if we treat progress as the finish line instead of as the starting line, we'll lose this fragile momentum and history will repeat itself. We've seen it before. We celebrate improvement, take a breath, and then the numbers surge back stronger than ever. This time we cannot look away. You know, the hard truth is, we already know what works. We just don't do it often enough, loud enough, or soon enough. When communities lean in instead of looking away, lives are saved. I've seen it. You've seen it. Every one of these solutions is rooted in human connection, not politics or blame. Let's start with something simple. Naloxone. Put it everywhere. Schools, libraries, churches, restaurants, workplaces. If people gather there, naloxone should be there too. And here's the thing. It's not just for someone else. You never know when you'll be the one standing next to a person who's fading, wishing you had the power to do something. You do. You just need the tool. And if you don't know how to use it, don't be embarrassed. It's easier than you think. One training, 5 minutes, could be the difference between a scare and a funeral. Next, we've got to make treatment easy to start. Not in 3 weeks, not after a pile of paperwork, not once insurance approves it. Now, when someone says, I need help, that's a window of clarity, and those windows close quickly. We need same-day access. No hoops, no judgment, just a warm handoff and a path forward. Because the truth is, recovery doesn't start with a lecture. It starts with being met where you are. And that brings me to this. Mental health care has to walk alongside addiction care. So many of our loved ones were self-medicating pain long before the first overdose. Depression, trauma, anxiety, they're not excuses, they're reasons. And when we heal the reason, we reduce the risk. We also have to care for the caregivers, the EMTs, nurses, police, parents, teachers, pastors. These folks carry invisible wounds. They show up shift after shift, scene after scene, and they take their pain home. I've talked to first responders who still see faces years later. They need space to breathe too. Because if we don't take care of the helpers, they burn out. And when they burn out, the whole system cracks. Now, maybe the most important thing we can do, tell the truth. Not the sensational version, not the judgmental version, the real version. We have to keep talking about fentanyl, xylazine, and nitazenes, but not with fear tactics or blame. We do it with compassion, with context, and with clarity. See, when we tell the truth, we take away shame's power. When people understand that this isn't about bad choices, but about poisoned drug supply and a profit-driven crisis, they start to listen differently. They start to see differently. And for anyone who thinks, well, fentanyl's not as bad as it was, it's getting weaker, let me stop you right there. The DEA's 2025 threat assessment makes it clear. Purity levels might shift, but that doesn't make it safer. In fact, it makes it more unpredictable. And unpredictability is deadly. It means you never know what you're really taking or how your body's going to react. Here's the bottom line. Hope and harm reduction are not opposites. They're partners. You can believe in recovery and carry naloxone. You can set boundaries and show compassion. You can hold people accountable and still hold out a hand. We can break this cycle, but it's going to take more than headlines. It's going to take heart lines, the kind that run through neighborhoods, churches, classrooms, and homes, because that's where this battle is fought and where it's won. Now, maybe you're listening and thinking, Doug, I'm just one person. What can I really do? And I get that. I've been there. But here's the truth. Real change doesn't start in Washington. It starts in living rooms, It starts around kitchen tables. You can make an impact right where you are. Start small. Carry naloxone. Learn to use it. Stick it in your glove box, your purse, your backpack. You might never need it, but if you do, you'll be grateful you had it. Next, change your language. Words can save lives or steal dignity. Say person with substance use disorder instead of addict. Those few words send a message that says you matter. You're not defined by your disease. Then show up locally. Go to a school board meeting and ask if naloxone is stocked on campus. Call your city council and ask where opioid settlement funds are going. Push for treatment centers that don't turn people away for lack of insurance or because they failed before. The truth is, this 25% decline we're seeing in some places, it didn't happen by accident. It happened because ordinary people did extraordinary things. They cared. They showed up. They refused to go quiet. So don't underestimate your voice. When one person speaks, others join. And before long, that whisper becomes a roar. The cost of inaction looks like empty chairs at dinner tables and pictures on memorial shirts. But there's another vision. A world where recovery is celebrated, not hidden. Where stigma dies before our kids do. Where no parent has to stand in a kitchen at 2 a.m. waiting for a call that never should have come. That's the world I'm fighting for. That's the voice you're hearing now. The echo of one father who refuses to let his son's story fade into silence. Here's what I'm asking of you today. Drop me a comment and tell me one action you or your community could take this month. Share this episode with a teacher, a pastor, or a local leader. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Visit Logan's Voice for other resources and how-to information. Together we can turn down the noise of stigma and turn up the sound of hope. I'm Doug. I am Logan's voice. I am Logan's dad, and I will not be silent.